Hello, and welcome to the first Public Information Center for the Township of Centre Wellington's Environmental Assessment Study for the 5 bridges in former Pilkington Township. My name is Andrew Dawson. I am a professional engineer with R.J. Burnside & Associates Limited, also known as Burnside. Burnside is the consulting engineering company that has been selected by the Township of Centre Wellington to work with the Township and the community on this bridge study. Burnside will be presenting this PIC on behalf of the Township of Centre Wellington. Thank you in advance for your time to review this PIC. We appreciate your interest in the project, as consultation with the community is a very important aspect of the environmental assessment study process. During this PIC, we will be presenting background information of the proposed study area, information regarding the municipal class environmental assessment process, details regarding the current state of the existing bridges, some preliminary study findings, a preliminary list of solutions to be considered, how those options will be evaluated, and what steps follow after this PIC. Let's start with defining the where for this study. We will review each structure in more detail shortly, but for now, let's discuss the study area as a whole. The overview map shown here outlines the limits of the study area and highlights the location of the bridge locations in red. The study area is located in the northwest quadrant of the Township of Centre Wellington, adjacent the boundary lines with Mapleton Township and Woolwich Township. This area is in Ward 1 of the Township of Centre Wellington and was formerly part of Pilkington Township prior to the amalgamation in 1999. The 5 bridges being assessed under this EA are located on side roads 5, 5 West, 11, and Noah Road. Bridges 32P and 33P are located in very close vicinity to one another and, as such, will be considered a single site for this study. These 5 bridges service a rural community, which is home to agricultural, residential, and commercial properties. The network of roads within this study area carry motorized and horse-drawn vehicles and connects the community to the neighboring towns of Alma, Salem, Elora, and Fergus. Side Road 5, 5 West, 11, and Noah Road are all considered to be low-volume roads, with an average of less than 200 vehicles per day traveling on these roads, based on the most recent 2021 study. The study area is also noted to be outside of the future residential growth nodes of the Township's Transportation Master Plan. Now, let's discuss what this study is. This study is a municipal class environmental assessment, but what exactly does that mean? Firstly, you will often hear the municipal class environmental assessment referred to as the MCEA, or even more simply, the EA. The EA process is built on a framework of environmental protection, effective consultation, and traceable decision-making. It is used to engage with the community and other stakeholders, such as ministries, First Nations, conservation authorities, and so on, to consider and review a number of potential alternatives, with due consideration of the impacts that they could have on the natural, social, cultural, and economic environments. There are several different scales of EAs based on what the project entails. This project is considered to be what is called a Schedule B project. What that means is this study will consist of 2 phases, as outlined in this slide. Phase 1 will identify the project opportunity, and Phase 2 will identify a number of alternatives that could solve that problem, and then evaluate them to determine a preferred alternative. As previously mentioned, public consultation is a very important aspect of the EA process. Throughout the EA, the public will be provided with several opportunities to provide comment on this study. This first PIC is one of those opportunities. This PIC is part of the first phase in helping define and understand the project opportunity. This PIC will provide you with background information regarding the project so that you can provide comments and recommendations on how you may be impacted by decisions made regarding the future plans for these structures. Your opinions are very important and will help identify potential solutions and decision-making in Phase 2 of the study. Phase 2 of this study will begin following this PIC and will involve a series of studies to be conducted within the project area. These include traffic studies, studies of the environment, cultural and heritage studies, and so on. We will then confirm the list of potential solutions to be considered that will help address the problem statement for the study. Those will be evaluated using the information gathered to determine what will be considered the preliminary preferred solution. Once a preliminary preferred solution is selected, we will hold another public information center to share our findings and explain how we arrived at the preliminary preferred solution. During the second PIC, you will once again be provided the opportunity to consult with the project team and provide comments on the preferred solution and any other components of the decision-making process for further consideration. Following the second PIC, the consultations with all stakeholders will once again be reviewed and the final preferred solution will be selected. All consultation and decision-making will be formalized through an official report. A notice regarding the completion of the study will be provided and a final, formal, 30-day public review period will be provided for any final comments. So why is this study being complete? As previously mentioned, the first step of Phase 1 of the EA process is to define the problem or opportunity. The problem opportunity statement for this study is as follows. The Township of Centre Wellington has initiated a Schedule B municipal class environmental assessment to evaluate options and select a preferred alternative for 5 bridge structures that are located within a 20 square kilometer area of road networks and are currently closed to vehicular traffic due to their deteriorated state. This study will evaluate the role of these structures within the overall transportation network and connectivity in the local community and determine the most suitable alternative at each location. We will now review each of the bridge locations to further understand this problem opportunity statement. Bridge 1P is located on Side Road 5 between 8th Line West and 3rd Line West. The original structure was a steel truss with an estimated construction date of around 1925. The structure was closed in 2004 based on the recommendation of a structural engineer due to its severe deterioration and limited load carrying capacity. In 2019, the bridge was removed. As shown in the photo on this slide, only portions of the existing concrete abutments still remain. Prior to its removal in 2019, photo documentation was taken of the original structure for heritage purposes. Bridge 28P is located on Side Road 11 between 8th Line West and 3rd Line West. The structure is a concrete T-beam, which is estimated to have been constructed around 1925. The driving platform width of the structure is narrow and considered a single-lane bridge. As visible in this photo, the existing concrete is severely deteriorated. This deteriorated concrete has a significantly reduced capacity, as is evident by the several large cracks, missing barriers, and exposed reinforcing steel. The top of the wing walls have also failed, causing loss of fill on the approaches. As a result of the poor state of the concrete and reduced capacity, the structure is considered to be beyond a repairable state, and the structure was closed in 2006. Structure 30P is located on Side Road 5, just west of Wellington Road 7, and was constructed in 1929. This structure is a concrete through-girder bridge, which means that the large solid railing over the bridge actually acts as the main load-carrying element. Severe deterioration with loss of concrete and exposed embedded reinforcing steel in a severely corroded state provided reasoning for closure of the structure in 2016, as per the recommendation of the structural engineer. Based on the severity of the deterioration, repair of the structure is not considered a feasible option. This bridge also has a narrow, single-lane driving platform width. Bridge 32P is located on Noah Road, west of 8th Line West. This bridge is approximately 100 meters west of 33P, and the two structures will be considered as one site for the purpose of this EA. This is another concrete T-beam structure with a narrow single-lane driving platform width. The structure was constructed in 1922 and closed to traffic in 2015 due to the severely deteriorated concrete on the T-beam elements, which significantly reduces the load-carrying capacity of these main load-carrying elements. Due to the significant amount of deteriorated concrete on the bridge, this structure was also not considered a valuable candidate for rehabilitation. Bridge 33P is located just east of Bridge 32P on Noah Road. Similar to 32P, it is also a concrete T-beam structure with a narrow, single-lane driving platform width. This structure was constructed in 1926 and closed to traffic in 2015, again due to severe deterioration and failing concrete elements, such as the wing wall shown in the left photo. This structure would also will not be considered a valuable candidate for rehabilitation due to the severe deterioration. It is noted that the preferred solutions for bridges 32P and 33P will be the same due to their close proximity. As part of the background review of the existing structures, a cultural heritage assessment was completed on all 5 bridges. The purpose of this study is to review relevant historical documents, evaluate the potential for cultural heritage value or interest, identify any cultural heritage resources, and provide recommendation for each bridge. This evaluation uses provisions of the Ontario Heritage Act and the County of Wellington's official plan to determine if the structures are of cultural significance. The study found that none of the 5 bridges were identified to fulfill the requirements of the Ontario Heritage Act for designation, nor did any of them meet the 60-point threshold for heritage value under MTO's assessment standards. As such, none of the 5 bridges are candidates for formal heritage protection under the Act. However, it was recognized that these structures contribute to the rural agricultural landscape of the township. Accordingly, the study recommends that no further heritage reports are required for the bridges, and that if the structures are to be removed, documentation of the bridges should be deposited in a local, publicly accessible repository. It is noted that Structure 1P was documented prior to its removal, and that these records are considered to fulfill the record-keeping recommendations. For bridges that are to be replaced, the study recommends that the design of the replacement structure reflect the original bridge, with an attempt to incorporate any unique features of the original design. For the purpose of discussions and promoting comments as part of this PIC, this slide presents the preliminary list of alternative solutions to be considered for each of the bridge sites as part of the EA process. The alternatives are as follows. Do nothing, which would involve taking no action and leaving the existing structures in their current state. Removal of the structure and construction of a formal turnaround area on each side of the structure. Rehabilitation of the existing structure, which would involve repairing the existing bridges to bring them up to current engineering and public safety standards. However, as discussed earlier during the review of the structures, this option would not be considered feasible for any of these bridges due to their advanced state of deterioration, narrow widths, and limited load capacities. Replacement of the structures will also be considered, which would involve the full removal of the existing bridge and replacement with the new structure. As part of this alternative, considerations will be given to the required level of service for each bridge to determine if full capacity 2-lane structures would be required or if bridges with limited capacities could be considered. It is important to note that the undertaking of this study does not mean that replacements of any or all of these structures will be the preferred solution. Similarly, it does not mean that the preferred solution for any or all of these structures will be removal. The purpose of this EA is to evaluate all potential solutions and select based on qualitative and quantitative analysis. To determine the preferred solutions for these bridges, Burnside will evaluate the alternatives against several criteria related to technical aspects, the natural environment, social and cultural environment, and economic impacts. In order to conduct these evaluations, Burnside will first conduct desktop studies and field investigations during Phase 2 of the study to prepare an inventory of natural, social, built, and economical environment within the study area. The studies will include, but are not limited to, cultural heritage evaluation to determine the potential significance of the structures, as we previously reviewed, traffic studies regarding the impacts with bridges open versus closed, ecological studies to identify aquatic and terrestrial habitats or any species at risk that could be impacted by the works, tree inventories to evaluate the potential impact of alternatives on existing vegetation, community consultations such as these, PICs, and ongoing information sharing through online platforms or ongoing communications, and cost evaluations. The magnitude of positive and negative impacts of each alternative will be weighed, and the ability to mitigate these impacts will be considered in determining the preliminary recommended solution. These findings will be presented to the public during the next PIC. Burnside and the Township will continue to consult with agencies and stakeholders as we work to evaluate and recommend a preferred solution for the bridges. This slide outlines the steps and approximate timelines following this PIC. The information gathered from this PIC and the upcoming field studies will formulate the path forward and through Phase 2 of the EA process. As mentioned previously, an additional PIC will be held upon the selection of the preliminary preferred alternative to allow the public to comment further on the preferred alternative selection. A final project file report will be filed in the spring of 2024, at which point the notice of study completion will be circulated and the 30-day public review period will be provided. That brings us to the conclusion of the PIC. As we have noted several times, public consultation is an important aspect of this study. As such, we welcome any comments regarding this study to be submitted to one of the project team contacts. There will be a forum open on the Connect CW website from September 6th to September 15th to submit comments related to this PIC. Alternatively, please feel free to send comments to the contacts listed in the slide before October 4th. We appreciate your time and interest in this project, and we look forward to receiving your comments. Thank you very much.